put this video that I found on Facebook about a week and a half ago. This guy singing this love song with Tourette's.
I saw that.
Guy's a good singer too. Can you listen to him? And he gets out like a whole line, and then he slips right into swear, swear, swear. Then he goes right back into the song where he picked up from. If you could take that and clip out all the Tourette's parts and string it all together, he'd actually be a pretty good singer.
We're gonna say hello to Hitler and Elvis. That's all I got to say.
Memories rest between the pages of my mind. Meow. Skip, skip. Meow, meow. Memories. And now it's springtime for Hitler and Germany.
That's the Chicago way.
Oh, you should put that speech on tape.
Hello, Chicago. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hello. Gotta drink to that.
Welcome to Alternate Reality.
Which must be just incredibly hard on a person's ego on any level. No matter how good-natured you are about it, you know that everybody looks on you 24/7 as a freak.
Yeah. People look at Peter Dinklage and going, "We really like your acting, but yeah, you're kind of small."
Yeah, you're kind of a freak.
Yeah,
you know,
you're
a good actor, you're a great actor, but you're
yeah.
a freak. Yeah. And Vern Troyer was lucky enough to fall into the mini-me thing with Dr. Evil, but he was a joke in that thing. Hey, look, it's a miniature version of me, and we call him Mini-Me, and we all call him Mini-Me because he's a freak. And it's like, well, yeah, and it's funny, but you weren't real happy about laughing about it, but you sort of couldn't help yourself. Andre the Giant had the opposite problem, obviously. You know, he was a giant, but, you know, he was just as out of place in the world as Vern Troyer was.
Comfortable with everything.
Or as Dinklage was. He's just his out of place in the world. You saw the Andre the Giant thing, right? Yeah. The HBO documentary? Yeah. That's a great little documentary. I knew it was going to be before it came on, but it's a great little documentary about Andre the Giant.
Sitting on a plane, and he couldn't go to the bathroom. Put a sheet around him.
Well, they put up a curtain, and he went to the bathroom in a bucket in front of the stewardesses, I assume, or somebody. And he said, "Well, here you go," and they had to dump it out. It's been embarrassing as hell for him on a regular basis. No matter how many times you have to do it, you are still having to do something that nobody else in the world has to do because of your size.
He's a carnival freak.
Carnival freak, and you can't help it. Anyway, folks, welcome to the alternate reality on that.
Big Show had the surgery. You could have had the surgery.
Welcome to the alternate reality, folks. Comic Book Man here, and I'm being joined once again by the dynamic duo, which makes a terrific trio out of the three of us. Starting with
Ruthless.
Yeah, whatever.
I'm Andre the Giant.
Oh, shut up. And we're also being joined by Bocepheus, who thinks he's Andre the Giant. This is going to be a continuation of episode 54, which was Image at 25. If you look back in the stacks, we did that.
25 years of good stuff and crap.
We did that in the end of November of 2017. And the reason we're doing that is because we went through the history of Image with that episode, and we skipped one big part of Image, which I mentioned at the end of that episode, and I said we were going to pick it up at some point. This is the point. We skipped Robert Kirkman. And the reason we skipped Robert Kirkman is Walking Dead is a show all by itself. And Kirkman's work with Walking Dead and many other comic projects.
Even though he's suing them.
I didn't think that we could fit Kirkman in to Image Comics because that would have been like a 2-hour show. So we're picking it up from here. If you haven't heard episode 54, it's out there. Go take a listen to it. At the end, where it says we're going to pick up Robert Kirkman and his Skybound and his Walking Dead work later on, this is the point. We are, of course, coming to you from Alternate Reality, which is located at the intersection of 111th and Kedzie in beautiful downtown Mount Greenwood. Alternate Reality, where all of your new comics are always 15% off every day for everyone. Book of the week is always 25% off. One kids book, one regular mainstream book, 25% off all week long. And, of course, all first issues, the first day they come out, are all 25% off as well. Book of the week is 25% off for the week, 7 days while supplies last. First issues are 25% off the day of they first come out. First day sale, first issues, get it? It's a thing.
Wow!
Yeah, wow. But be sure to stop down at Alternate Reality. Like I said, we're going to do this episode with Robert Kirkman. We're going to talk about his Skybound work a little bit, and then we're going to get into Walking Dead, because that's going to be the main thrust of this episode. Kirkman started Skybound Entertainment back in 2010, after Walking Dead got off the ground, the comic book. While he put together Skybound, he's had a variety of other people working for him, done a variety of other projects. It hasn't been a Kirkman-esque imprint, but I mean, that's where all of his stuff is at. If you're looking for Kirkman stuff, his Invincible is there, which just ended recently. Outcast is there, which is still going.
Cinemax.
Is Outcast still going?
Yeah,
No, Thief of Thieves is over with.
No, one more arc.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because it hasn't been out forever.
They announced the final arc with Thief of Thieves this week.
Okay, Outcast is another one of Kirkman's books. Thief of Thieves, like we just said, is another one of Kirkman's books. Outcast is the mystery book. No, supernatural book.
It's the
demon
possession book.
Yeah, demon possession book. Thief of Thieves is their
crime.
Is a crime Catwoman
It's a noir
book.
thing. Crime,
yeah, it's a Catwoman thing, except it's a guy.
Every time they pull me out, they pull me back in.
It's the Alexander Mundy type thing.
Yeah.
Of course, he also did the kids' book Super Dinosaur and Science Dog. Yeah. And if you dig far enough into Kirkman's past, okay, he also did Battle Pope back before he came to Image Comics.
Battle Pope was what got him into being noticed by the bigger companies.
Yeah, that was an incredibly blasphemous book.
And Marvel went, come on in and work for us. We'd like you to do some books.
No, he did work at Marvel. As a matter of fact, he's the guy that picked up Marvel Zombies after Mark Millar got done with it. Yeah. Mark Millar introduced Marvel Zombies in Ultimate Fantastic Four when they actually got to the point where Marvel said, you know what? We could make an actual miniseries out of this and see how it does, and it did gangbusters. Yes. Kirkman was the guy who actually did Marvel Zombies, the actual comic.
Because they went, let's find this guy in Kentucky who's doing this Battle Pope thing, and we'll bring him into the bigger company. And you can do the zombie book, right? And he said, yeah, sure, no problem. And
he also had Marvel Team Up, which was a Spider-Man book.
Yeah.
Where actually Invincible crossed over into a Marvel universe and teamed up with Spider-Man in one issue. But he did Marvel Team Up, but he pretty much figured out early on that he was never going to be any more than another Peter David. They were never going to let him at the A-level books because he was considered the zombie guy over at Marvel. And he was referred to that by some of the creative higher-ups at Marvel.
Well,
some of the folks who were writing the A books as, that's Robert Kirkman. He's that zombie guy.
Well, he did a lot of work for the Ultimate Universe. So he did Marvel Zombies. And didn't he do Ultimate Fantastic Four? He did a couple books there too. But yeah, he was.
But that's the Ultimate.
He was the ultimate. Yeah, he was the Ultimate Universe guy. He wasn't the mainstream Marvel Universe guy.
Once you get past Bendis on Spider-Man and Mark Millar on Ultimates, pretty much everything else in the Ultimate Universe was B stuff. Yeah. You know, treading on the Ultimates name, but not really doing much with it. So that's the main reason why he never stuck at Marvel, because after doing 3 hugely successful versions of Marvel Zombies and Marvel Team Up book, he said, well, I'm never really going anywhere else around here, am I?
No.
I think I'll throw everything else into my Image work.
I'll do Walking Dead.
Walking Dead.
And Invincible.
Also, at Skybound, some of the other books they do, if you're interested, are Manifest Destiny, which is the historical book about Lewis and Clark going cross-country and exploring the wilderness. But it's a fictionalized account of that history. He also does Green Valley, which is a 9-issue limited series that Max Landis did. Birthright by Josh Williamson, which is a fantasy adventure comic. Extremity by Daniel Warren Johnson, which is a revenge comic, essentially. Redneck by Danny Cates. Which sort of speaks for itself, Redneck, as to what it is. And Kill the Minotaur by Chris Kitamasa.
Yeah.
And Chris Pesaletto and artist Lucas Kettner. And they've done many other books too, but those are some of the highlights.
So part of the Skybound universe.
But the Skybound universe is built on, revolves around, and is beholden to one book and one book only. And that, of course, is
Walking Dead.
I tried to play that on guitar. That's a hard riff to learn.
Walking Dead, I've talked a little bit about it before. Walking Dead is basically nothing more than Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
Stretched out over months, years. I don't know what the hell the timeline is. Either in the TV series.
Even they don't know when the timeline is.
Even in the TV series or the comic, I really couldn't tell you how many months or years have gone by from the first issue of Walking Dead to where they're at now, or from the first episode of the TV series to where they're at now. TV series, it's a little easier. As soon as the kid gets too big, you kill him.
Yeah.
And I would assume that Judith is going to be replaced on an ongoing basis with younger actresses as she gets too old.
She's not getting she's getting lost.
For it to make any sense. But the ticking time bomb in the TV series was always Carl from the first episode. Carl. It's going to be, well, if this show's really successful, this kid's really going to start getting odd as the years go by. Carl. He's going to age by leaps and bounds. Carl. But in the comic book, you can't really tell how long the series has gone on.
5 years?
Well, in the real world, Walking Dead's been going on for a decade now.
Yeah, it's been around for a while.
Yeah, it's been around 10 years, but that doesn't mean anything. I mean, we're all used to Marvel time.
Marvel time!
You know, the passage of time means nothing in comics.
No.
You know, especially in a post-apocalyptic world where there really is no way to even keep track of time after a while.
There's no calendars, there's no clocks.
Well,
there's no electricity.
Sun goes up, sun goes down.
Today. Okay.
And what day is it? It's today. What day will tomorrow be? Well, it'll probably be today.
It'll be tomorrow.
It'll be tomorrow today.
Join the new world of tomorrow today.
You know, but you've got seasons.
Like Winmar.
And I assume, you know, hot periods and cold periods and snow and ice and everything.
Is it snowed in the
No, it hasn't snowed yet.
No, it hasn't snowed in the Walking Dead comic yet.
Well, but they're still down. Well,
they're still in
but
they're in Virginia.
They're in Virginia, but it snows in Virginia. Yeah. So
apparently not in the comic.
Well, how long have they been in Virginia in the comic? Like I said, it's hard to nail down.
Yeah, you can't figure it out. Yeah.
So as far as the comic goes, let's talk a little bit about the differences between the comic and the TV series.
Well,
now,
Rick's only got one arm in the comic.
Yeah, Rick's got one arm. Carl's still alive.
Yeah.
There is no...
still wearing a cowboy hat.
There's no Daryl.
There's no Daryl.
No, Daryl. No, those characters were invented for the TV show completely.
Yeah, there's no Daryl. The actual events are switched around a little bit.
Yeah.
They don't happen in the same order that they happen in the TV series. What else?
Certain characters who are dead on the show are still alive in the comic. Andrea's still alive in the comic, but she died on the show.
She died like 4 years
ago.
Yeah,
she died on the show. Eugene's less of a pain in the ass in the comic than he is on the show.
Although in the last episode of this season, Oh, and by the way, I should mention this. There will probably be spoilers in this episode. Walking Dead TV and maybe comic spoilers. Yeah. So if you don't want to hear spoilers, you probably should stop right now because we're probably going to give away some spoilers.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Too late.
Okay.
You blew it.
So, but anyway, Eugene redeems himself at the last minute.
Oh, I saw that coming. I'm like, I'm going. He screwed up the bullets. I knew he screwed up the bullets. I knew he was going to do that. That wasn't. I'm like.
You know what? That episode right there was probably one of the most saw it coming.
That is the episode,
in a long time.
That entire episode is basically them saying reset.
And you know why? And they kept saying this Negan character's coming. Okay, what's going to happen when Negan gets there?
And then it got to the point where is he going to leave? We're tired of him now. Yeah.
We love the character Jeffrey Dean Morgan, but get rid of Negan, though.
You know what Morgan said yesterday? He said, you should have sped up the show how he became this character.
Oh,
because it's told in the comics that he was a school teacher. Yeah. He wasn't like this before.
He was a wrestling coach, right?
He was a coach, but he was a teacher. And he wasn't like this, and the world that he lives in turned him into this. This wasn't who he was.
The comic book, too, I don't know about to say, but this TV series, one of the things that they've gone back and forth with, especially with Rick, is this is who we were, this is who we're evolving into. Right. I don't want to evolve into this, so I need to get back to where I was, which was a big part of this whole season they had. Rick was going down a dark alley, which the death of his son propelled him down until Carl pulled him back out of it with his letter.
Look, you need to know this. This can't be the world we live in.
This can't be,
this isn't
make
a
better world. Make it a better world, and
the same thing's happened in the comic too.
Yeah, and it's not going to be easy for Rick to try to make it a better world.
No, it's not going to be easy because people are going to resist what he's trying to do.
Well, there's already 3 that's doing it.
Well, yeah, but people misunderstood that scene.
I know.
They're not against what he wants to do.
He's not against Rick. They're not against Rick.
They're not against Rick. They're going, no, Negan
needs to die.
That's what they want to do.
Yeah.
And I don't believe Jesus is in on this at all. I think Jesus is going, I'm here.
So he's like a double agent or something.
Yeah, because you get the whole thing with Morgan. Well, this is the end of the stick you used to kill with. This is the end you
I saw that. Yeah,
so when he's sitting there, I'm like, okay, he's not really with them. He's there to watch them and make sure they don't do anything stupid.
Those two characters, Daryl and
Maggie.
Those two characters have suffered the most because of Negan. Yeah. And so Actually, if they want to do some character work with both of them, this would be the point where you jump off. If you're going to spend this season working on Rick, I can see next season them working on both Daryl and Maggie.
They've got a problem with Maggie. Lauren Cohen did a pilot.
She signed. She re-signed.
She re-signed?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
so
she did.
Is she going to do both?
That's the question. But
because
she
the
did
NBC
re-sign.
pilot she's going to do is probably going to get picked up.
Oh, maybe they'll have to recast it.
No, they won't recast
Well,
it.
What's a pilot?
I forget what the name of it is. I was looking at this.
Is it science fiction? Is it cop?
No, it's a crime thing. It's a crime show.
Okay,
she's
crime.
playing it's a undercover agent thing.
Okay.
So she could pop up every once in a while, but the way they shoot Dead, she could probably do both shows at the same time.
Well, I can't see why she couldn't. I mean, they only do 20 episodes of Walking Dead a year.
Yeah,
And they split
it's not like they kill.
it's
not like they kill themselves with
Yeah, and
episodes.
you could do a couple Maggie didn't show up. Where's she at?
Well, they don't even have to have that. Where's Maggie at? She's went over to the kingdom.
It's kind of like on Gotham.
She's over there.
It's like on Gotham. It's like, where's Alfred been for the past couple episodes? He's off somewhere making cakes or something.
Any other differences between the comic and the TV series that you want to point out or talk about?
No. Kirkman said they don't have to follow the comic to the letter because he said, well, why would you? Because I can tell a longer story in the comic than you're going to get on TV. That's part of the problem is that, the All Out War thing went for the season. That was fine. But, yeah, at a certain point, people go, well, I'm tired of Negan. I love what he's doing, but I'm kind of tired of the whole Savory storyline.
Well, Kirkman established at the very beginning of the TV series that he had made a mistake in cutting Rick's hand off the comic, but once it's cut off, you're stuck with it.
Yeah, you're stuck with it.
You can't do anything with it.
grow it
So he made a point of saying, we are not going to be cutting Rick's hand off.
No, it's not happening because he goes, I did that because as a time it worked out, and as I'm working the book, I go, why the hell did I do that?
So
you know what? That was an episode where Rick's hand got badly injured, and you thought it was going to be the one where Rick chops the hand off. And I'm looking at it going, oh, that's right. There's not too many doctors left.
Well,
there isn't.
And the pain meds are probably hard to come by, so he literally has to sleep like my hand is broken for 3 weeks.
Well, then there was the part in 2 seasons ago, I think, where Negan was going to have Rick cut off Carl's hand, which was sort of a parody joke statement about that. No, it won't be your hand, Rick. It'll be your kid's hand. Well, and that's the first thing I thought of when they're in the middle of that scene of doing it. Oh, it's not going to be Rick's hand. It's going to be the kid's hand.
You know what? For all of the hatred people have been splashing on about Negan.
Okay, but hold on a second. Before we get too much deeper into this, we're going to take a break. But I want to ask you, is there any other stuff you want to talk about with Skybound Entertainment before we get out of this?
Yeah. You've got 2 TV shows out of that, but I haven't watched the show on Cinemax. I haven't watched any single episode. Yeah, I haven't watched any of it.
Okay.
So, and AMC's supposed to do a Thief of Thieves show. Well, it's not happening anytime soon. So.
And Invincible's a dead issue, although I would think that with 142 issues of Invincible out there, somebody at some point might be interested in doing an Invincible TV show.
Could be, or an animated show.
Or anime, or something with it. I mean, there's more than enough material out there. It's a
could
superhero
happen.
show.
There's enough stuff out
and
there.
I hear superheroes are popular nowadays.
They are?
They are?
What the hell that happen?
At the very least, get a Science Dog Kid show.
Oh, that's never going to happen. Science Dog was crap.
He did one every 50th issue.
Yeah, I know, because he goes, I'm just doing this for the fun of it.
Well, yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He was.
And it was fun, we'll do Science Dog.
Okay, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about lawsuits. Hey folks, Comic Book Man here. Most people don't know this, but I got my start in comics retail on February 20th, 1978, when I became the store manager of the Comic Book Emporium. 16 years later, I opened Alternate Reality on August 20th, 1994. Like Superman's penchant for double L's, it seems the 20th has always been an important part of my life. I respect that heritage, which is why we have a Founders Day sale on the 20th of each month here at the store. Every 20th, stop by and you'll save 20% off all of your purchases all day long, only at Alternate Reality. And we're back. Bo, as I mentioned earlier, Robert Kirkman, when he first started off with Walking Dead, he had said that he was not going to make the same mistake he did in the comic, and that was he cuts Rick's hands off. And at that time, everything was hunky and dory between Robert Kirkman and the Walking Dead folks who were making the TV series, AMC. Things aren't quite so hunky and dory now, even though I saw him on Talking Dead last week, sitting there with the cast, yucking it up. One thing I did notice is he's sitting in the back, which makes sense because you got the big name actors down front. Yeah. So he's sitting in the back, but he's not saying much, especially considering he's the creator of the series. And he was one of the executive producers on the show.
Well, he's still an executive producer.
Well,
but being an executive producer...
but he's also suing them.
Yeah, being an executive producer really doesn't mean a lot. It means your name's above the title. You don't really do much.
So why is he suing AMC?
Profits.
What's the matter with the profits? You think there's some shady bookkeeping going on?
Oh, there's always shady bookkeeping going on as far as TV shows.
Allegedly, there's always shady bookkeeping.
No.
Allegedly.
Everyone who's ever sued has won. Walking Dead is rerun, Channel 26 runs it?
Yes.
And it's run somewhere else, isn't it?
Well, it probably is. I'm sure it's syndicated across the country.
Yeah, the problem is the fact that they said that AMC is not exactly being honest about the amount of money.
How much money they're making off the profits. It's the biggest thing on AMC. And
it's the biggest show there. And they're going, and they're probably doing what most studios do. Well, it hasn't really turned a profit.
We haven't made a profit.
And people are going, you're lying. We know you're lying.
It's a Smallville all over again.
This is X-Files.
Exactly.
And Chris Carter won.
This is also Happy Days, too.
And
if you go back, Happy Days.
You're telling me this show's not making any money. But I'm looking at all the stuff we're selling, and you're saying we haven't turned a profit yet.
Well, it's the same thing with movies, too.
Yeah.
I mean, this movie made $300 million, but we haven't seen a penny of profit
yet.
It's like, okay, whatever.
There was something that happened this week about the lawsuit. The judge took notes on something that the AMC people were pushing that the people who were suing were not. But when this is all over with, Kirkman and Darabont and Gail Ann Hurd, they're all going to get a lot more money out of this thing because AMC is going to lose because TV networks always lose in these cases. They always lose.
But why do they keep doing it?
Because they think people are stupid.
They also think that their representation will probably be better than their representation. Right. At some point, they will wear them down in the courts. We've got more money than you have.
They'll give up.
So if we drag this out long enough, you'll run out of money.
You'll run out of money.
Yeah, but you're not going to run out of that desire for, I was right, and this proves it.
The problem with that is the fact that you got a lot of lawyers out in California going, we're not going to charge you anything to do this case because it makes us look good. And we'll take a small cut of this, but you're going to get a lot more money out of it.
We beat the AMC.
Yeah, we beat them. Yeah. Chris Carter's lawyers, they didn't get a lot of money out of it, but Chris Carter got a lot more money out of it than he was getting.
And as I alluded to earlier, the people that was in charge of Happy Days was the cast owned their likenesses.
Yeah.
But ABC decided to start sending their faces out into slot machines in Vegas, and people going, hey, I just played the Happy Days slot machine and I won $2,000 off of it. And I guess someone told if it was Ron Howard or if it was Marion Ross or something.
Probably Ron Howard.
And he said, what? Wait a minute. There's a slot machine with our faces on it?
We didn't sign for this.
We didn't sign up for this. Well, let me get in touch with Marion and Winkler and see what happened. Winkler says, oh, no, I didn't sign for this. I didn't sign up for this.
The same thing happened with Cheers. It happened with Cheers, too.
So when the TV shows do stupid stuff like that, you would think they would go, you know what, it's just best to just split the money.
So Kirkman's pissed off because of the bookkeeping.
Yeah.
And he wants more money.
He wants more money. Darabont started all this because Darabont goes, A, you fired me for not the right reasons, and B, I should be getting a lot more money out of this thing since I'm the one who came up with the whole idea, and if it wasn't for me...
Well, he didn't come up with the idea. No, Kirkman did.
Kirkman came up with the idea, but if Darabont hadn't turned it into a TV show, it hadn't worked as well as it did, Kirkman wouldn't be getting any money out of this. This all comes out of Darabont. And this is not the first time Kirkman's been sued. Tony Moore sued Kirkman over Walking Dead, and he won. So he's getting money out of this thing, too.
Well, Tony Moore sued Kirkman, but Kirkman is suing AMC. Yeah, Tony Moore didn't sue AMC. He sued Kirkman.
Actually,
because of his work.
He sued Kirkman, but he threw AMC into the middle of that, too. So AMC is cutting a check to Tony Moore every year.
Well, his name's on the credits, too.
Yeah, and he got his name on the credits.
Isn't Darabont his name on the credits, too?
I don't think Darabont's name's still on the credits. It might be created by or controlled by.
No, Walking Dead created by is all the creators' name. Yeah. Kirkman,
Charlie Adlard, and Tony Moore.
And Tony Moore. Their names are on there, created by. Yeah. Now, I think Darabont's name is on there every week. Another credit, series created.
Yeah, I think I've seen, because I remember when he got fired, and I'm looking at it going, why is his name still popping up on the wall?
But Darabont's name isn't mixed in there with Kirkman and Eldred. And,
No. And actually, the show hasn't been as good since Darabont left.
He was only there for the first season.
Well, he was there for a season and a half.
Okay, season and a half.
And
we're in, what, season 9 now or something?
And everyone's complaining about Scott Gimple. They're like, we really don't like Scott Gimple. We're kind of
That's why most of the characters started leaving. Shane left because of issues. And
no.
Shane got a job.
No, Shane left because he didn't like the way that Darabont was treated. He said, no,
right,
I'm leaving.
and also
I don't want to be here because you screwed him over.
But he also got a job.
And he also got more jobs.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, he left on a moral reason. He said, no, you screwed him. I'm leaving.
Lori did the same thing,
but she kept working. Yeah,
I know she worked up in this, and she said it's time for me to go. And they was like, "Well, no, I'm not signed under contract. I don't want to be here no more since these guys are gone."
Well, for most shows, you signed for a 7 or 8 year deal. Okay, and this will be the thing that'll kill Walking Dead. Once those original contracts are over with, do you think Andrew Lincoln's going to keep hanging around?
Well, the only person they need to worry about is Andrew Lincoln
because
it's Rick's story.
Yeah, it's Rick's story.
You can't shift the focus of this series off of Rick.
Right.
It has to be Rick's story. As soon as you shift it off onto somebody else,
people go,
it loses its momentum.
Yeah, I'm only concerned about Rick.
Fear the Walking Dead right now is in actually an interesting position because they're shifting the focus away from the main cast and over to Morgan, who's coming onto the show.
And you know why? Because the people in Fear are too stupid to be alive.
Well, the people, the Fear has creative problems, which they're looking for the parent show to fix with Morgan. The show, its focus is going to shift over to Morgan now instead of the people who are there right now, which if I was there for the first 2 seasons, that would bother the hell out of me because nobody cares enough about to keep us the focus of this show. We got to bring this other guy in. At the same time, he's coming in to save the show. Yeah. Essentially.
Yeah. Everyone you brought into this season is there to save the show.
And the cute
because people go, this show sucks.
And the cute trick with that is because Morgan keeps seeing people in his head, you can bring the whole damn cast with you. Seriously, this is a prediction. You watch that show, I am predicting that you will see most of the main cast show up in Fear the Walking Dead in Morgan's head with him having conversations with them at different moments where he's having questions about what he should do. You're going to have Jesus sit down with him. Well, here's what I'd do if I were you. Or you're going to have Daryl sit down. You know, man, you really need something about this guy.
Or Dwight talking.
Or Dwight, or I don't think you're
going
to
the governor.
I don't think you're going to see Rick.
No.
But you saw Rick in the first episode. You saw Jesus, you saw Rick, and who's the third person that showed up? Carol, Jesus, and Rick. They all showed up at the junkyard and said, "What the hell are you doing here by yourself in the junkyard?"
I need to be alone.
After the third visitation, that's when he decides, "Well, I guess I'm going to start walking west."
I need to be alone.
And he leaves the show.
Oh, and by the way, people who go, was that a hint for the Whisperers in the season ender? No, it was not.
Yeah, they had blown up over that one.
Yeah, people were like, I see pikes over there in the back of the zombie hordes. And they went, no. And he also said, well, no, we're not explaining the helicopter this year either.
The helicopter was...
The helicopter exists. Yeah, the helicopter exists.
Okay, this season overall, the 7th season, how do you guys feel about the 7th season? Because it started off with all-out war.
It was all-out war.
From start to finish, it was all-out war. The war began in the first episode.
Right.
It ends in the last episode.
Ends in the last episode.
Which is pretty much what I thought it was going to be, like halfway through last season.
Yeah.
Well, I guess all of next season is going to be all-out war.
Yeah.
So, now that we've finally done all-out war, how do you guys think it went?
Overall, pretty good. Although the ratings for the season finale were the lowest in quite a while. The bloom is kind of dripping off the rose from the show. People are starting to watch other things. Richard Roper said quite clearly, he even did an article in the Sun-Times.
That's all right.
I don't care about it anymore.
That's all right. He said it used to be his must-see watch on Sundays. He said now he's pretty much done with it.
And there are a bunch of people that I work with, and they're saying the same thing. We've kind of lost interest.
Well, what do you think that is? I mean, the show just been on too long?
Too much Negan.
Worn out its welcome?
The common thing was that people complaining about Negan.
They didn't like Jeffrey Dean Morgan that much?
No. They didn't mind Jeffrey Dean Morgan. They thought they kept seeing Negan more often than they wanted to see him. They were really going, when is this storyline going to end?
But he wasn't on every episode during the
No, he wasn't.
And when he would show up, it was like an extra extended 15 to 20 minutes. And he wasn't in like every scene.
And I think people thought this season went on a little too
I think
long.
the bat smacking episode basically just killed it for him.
That's when he first shows up.
I know.
You don't see him until he walks out of that trailer.
Right.
Yeah.
You hear about him, but you don't actually see him.
Yeah, but that was so visceral for somebody to actually see a guy get his head squashed like a grape. You do realize that every last one of these cast members, they are walking dead. Yeah. That they're basically gonna die. No matter what you do, they are gonna die.
Well, that's been one of the saving graces of the show, actually, is because everybody except for Rick, everybody is on the block and can die, and so far have. Yeah. As soon as you think that somebody is safe, chances are they're going to be dead at some point real soon. Now, Daryl, Carol, and Beth seem to be the only ones that are immune to that, but it's just a matter of time until their numbers are up, too.
But King Ezekiel could get his head on a pike next season. That's how he dies in the comics. He gets his head on a pike. You got the Commonwealth next year. You got hippies who showed up and go, "Hi, this is how you build stuff."
Oh, poor Ezekiel. First he loses his tiger, now that. Well, hey, that was a sad episode. Hey. I was going to leave the tiger alone.
How long did you think a CGI tiger was going to be around?
Right. I mean, come on. It's like, how much is this tiger costing us an episode?
Yeah, exactly. Even though he's hardly on that show.
Besides, you got Jerry.
Yeah, you got
Jerry.
You got Jerry.
Really?
The first scene in the
his heavy set sidekick in armor
Jerry has become a fan favorite. That first scene in that episode, he's great.
If I was Jerry, I'd be worried.
Yeah.
Because if you're a fan favorite,
you're gone. You see how they push Tara? Okay, people starting to like you. You may not last around for a while. So she first said, push me back to the background.
So, the thing that this show has always had in its back pocket is, as soon as you get comfortable, don't get comfortable. Right. Because everybody is expendable. And they started that early on. At what point do you think that turned against them?
I don't think it did.
Well, it doesn't sound like you're saying that that's something that's working for the show anymore.
I don't think people that watch the show have read the comics.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you that. At home, we're watching the thing, and she, who must not be named, kept going on about, I really want Negan to die. I really want Negan to die. I really want Negan to die.
And we're going, he doesn't die. He gets held prisoner. She goes, what?
and all I keep telling her is, you know what? He's still around in the comic, and the comic is at least 3 years ahead of where we're at right now in the show. Not that they can't kill him, because of course they did that with the kid, but the kid had a built-in problem with him. In fact, he was aging, but they can make changes from the comic if they want to. And they don't have a problem doing that.
Okay,
but Negan probably wasn't going anywhere.
No.
Okay, I have a question about that. Now, is that a Hollywood writing thing that kids can't age?
No. The problem is what I was trying to get at the beginning. We're talking about how much time has gone by.
It's a visual look. If Carl is taller than Rick, he's not a kid anymore.
Yeah, he's not the kid anymore. You see, the Carl Rick thing works because it's Batman and Robin.
Right.
Because it's the sidekick, the son, and the dad, the mentor.
Yeah.
And as soon as the kid becomes the adult, he's not the sidekick anymore.
Right.
No.
He becomes Nightwing.
And
you go out and find a Tom Drake.
We need to find, we need to find another guy to play Robin.
That's why Nightwing would never go back under the tutelage of Batman again.
But that's part of the problem. But the real problem is you can't tell how many years have gone by, but a lot of years have gone by.
Because you're looking at the kid and going, I mean, when you see that episode, you see him walking with Carl. Wait a minute. How many years has this been?
I saw even the death scene with Carl, and I'm sitting up there going, he's kind of tall.
He's like 6'3".
The hair's on the face and
he's 6'3".
If the kid is 8 or 9 in the first episode, to this point, 10 years have gone by for him. But 10 years haven't gone by in the series because Judith is only like 2?
3. I think she's 3.
Maybe 3?
Maybe 3.
Well, if she's only 3 years old, let's say a year's gone by from the actual point where Rick wakes up to the point where they're in the prison, then only 4 years have gone by. The kid's age 10. None of this makes any damn sense anymore. What do we do about it? I know. We kill him.
Kill him all.
We kill him.
No, the great thing you have about Judith is nobody's attached to her, and you can always change her out with a younger actress.
You can do the Gotham Poison Ivy thing. How many Poison Ivies have we seen? 3.
Yeah, we're going through 3. Well, they've gone out of their way to accelerate her.
Yeah.
You can do the opposite with Judith. Yeah. You just keep her young by recasting her.
So apparently there's some stage mother that has kids and just puts one out in front of the
What
other.
does Judith actually look like?
I can't even tell
you. Exactly.
She's a little blonde girl.
She's a little blonde girl. You don't look at Judith and go, wait a minute, that's a different actress. No, because the last time you actually saw Judith's face was a year and a half ago, our time, and you don't remember.
She spent a lot of time being carried her on a shoulder or walking along with people.
This what cracked me up, because the Carl death scene said, say goodbye to Carl. She started crying.
Right.
And they held her hand and took off. Yeah. Then next week episode, she's being held up, and I was like, wait a minute. Okay?
Remember Morris the Cat in the 9 Lives commercials? Morris the Cat was in those commercials for like 20 years. I don't know how to break this to you, but there were like 5 or 6 Morrises over the course of the run of that ad.
I know.
And there's going to be 5 or 6 Judiths in the show, because that's how you fix this problem.
That's how you keep her young.
Yeah, as the series goes on. And that way, once you take the Carl problem out of the equation, then time becomes immaterial again. Right. We're back to Marvel time, which is a problem Marvel's had in the comic book. Franklin Richards was born in 1968 in the annual. We are how many decades removed from that now?
Yeah. About 9? 5. Yeah.
Well, in the promos for the Fantasy Football,
I saw.
He's taller.
He's taller.
They've also been gone an undisclosed amount of time.
Yeah, he's like 5'9", 5'10". Yeah, they're all about the same size.
You can fool around with time because they've been gone for a while now.
But it's kind of funny messing with the Walking Dead thing, because there's no clocks. The sun goes down, sun goes up. They still don't know what day it is.
They don't care what day it is.
They're looking, going.
The day means
there's no electricity.
We're gonna take a break. We're gonna come back. I want to talk about Fear the Walking Dead and showrunners. But before we get out of this, anything else you want to talk about this past season we've just had?
I loved it. The whole mountaintop fight ended exactly.
How do you think they did All Out War? I mean, you guys read All Out War in the comic. Now that you've actually seen it on the TV series, did they do it justice?
Yeah, they did it justice.
Yeah, because it wouldn't have been right for them to do an hour and 10 minutes of people just killing and slashing and watching. No, and they've done that before.
And then when the war's over, Rick goes, "Look, this is the world we live in now. You're either going to work with us or get the hell out of here, because we're going to do what we're going to do, and you can do whatever the hell you want to do. But what he was doing, we're not doing that stuff."
Yeah, that was a good speech.
Right.
Oh, and by the way, if you turn against us, I will kill you myself.
I will kill you myself. And so the next thing you see is, look, they're working and they're making stuff out of things and they're fixing things. And they're going, hi, here's the crops. I'm like, oh, these people turned quick.
I guess we're farmers now.
Yeah, I guess we're farmers now.
Okay, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Fear.
Located at the intersection of 111th and Kedzie in the heart of beautiful downtown Mount Greenwood, Alternate Reality is the only brick-and-mortar store that discounts all new comics 15% off every day for everyone, and that's been since 1994. And all brand new first issues are discounted at 25% off every new Comic Wednesday. So stop on down and save some money.
And we're back. Fear the Walking Dead. It's a spin-off show, obviously, from Walking Dead. It's been on for 2 seasons now. Yes. It started off with a lot of promise.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, it did.
It came up with a cash grab.
No, the show started off with a lot of promise because you're taking the concept and you're moving it cross country. Yeah. So you have your East Coast, West Coast thing going on. Different mindset. You're also starting it before the infection begins, because The Walking Dead starts us off with Rick waking up in a coma, and it's already happened. And they never really put the pieces together. And they don't really in Fear, but you at least get to see that happening in a major metropolitan city, how things would fall apart. And after 2 years have gone by, I think it's safe to say that the show has sort of been a letdown for most people, well, and hence Morgan.
As I said, these people were too stupid to be alive.
Where do you think Fear went wrong in the first place? I mean, like I said, the premise was move it from the East Coast to West Coast. You have a different mix of people, and you start the timeline off everything falls apart. I mean, this thing definitely starts off before anything is wrong. It's just another day when this thing starts off, and by the time you get to the end of the first season, everything's gone to hell in a handbasket, and they're on the run. Where do you think the thing went wrong?
I'm thinking when they left California, they could have played a little bit more with adding on like certain things that was going on with the entire city, but they just basically just took them out and just said, okay, we're on the run. I think when they tried to accelerate it, it's sort of like they were trying to catch up with Walking Dead.
Well, it wasn't first episode, second episode. I mean, they didn't say, okay, we're on the run until you get to the last episode of that first season.
Well, I think the first season, it was like they were questioning what was happening.
Well, yeah.
And then they just automatically just went, bam. It's like night and day. And they didn't do the build up like they should have did because it was called Fear of the Walking Dead.
Well, yeah, they gotta call it something. They couldn't call it The Walking Dead. So you call it
Walking Dead 2.
Fear of the Walking Dead, or Terror of the Walking Dead, or Brunch with Aunt Sally and the Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead go to L.A.
Well, it had to be called something though. It had to be called something.
I would have loved that.
West Coast Adventure.
West Coast.
Yes, West Coast Walking Dead. What about you? Where do you think it went wrong?
Execution. The entire show. I thought the show was stupid from the moment I first saw it. I watched the first episode and went, I don't care about any of these people, and I don't care about the show, and I don't watch it.
Well, you can say the same thing about Walking Dead, though. I mean, you didn't care about... Well, the only person you saw in that first episode of Walking Dead was Rick.
Yeah.
And they introduced the cast slowly.
Yeah.
You couldn't do that in Fear the Walking Dead because the whole idea behind it was we're starting things off a day before everything goes to hell. Everything has to be normal.
You were fine with the casting. I like Kim Dickens. I thought Cliff Curtis, who played the husband, they didn't know what the hell to do with him. He's a pretty good actor, and there he was just playing a stiff. And like I said, those people were too stupid to be alive. And I picked up around that right after the first episode, and so I went, I'm not watching this because I think these people are too stupid and they all deserve to be eaten.
Well, I was more drawn to the drug addict son than
and I really hated him.
Why?
That was a cliche. It was a walking cliche. The good son, the drug dealing evil son. I don't need to see Cain and Abel. I've seen that stuff. I don't need to see it again. That kid just annoyed me from the first moment I saw him, and I had no interest in anything he ever did past that point.
Did you see who they have for the regulars on there? Jenna Elfman.
That's the only high point of that show. They actually cast it better. Jenna Elfman and Garrett Dillahunt.
I saw
and I love Garrett Dillahunt.
Yes.
And I'm like, wait a minute.
Plays a gunslinger.
Yeah, and I'm like, wait a minute. They're actually casting people I give a crap about. I like these actors. Maybe I'll watch because of these people.
Answer a question for me. Are there characters that they haven't used out of the comic they could transport over to this series and use over there?
There are so many damn characters.
Well, exactly. Yeah. But is there anybody that stands out that they haven't used yet in The Walking Dead? I don't mean taking Morgan moving over. I mean somebody who's never been in the TV series who they could pull out of the comic and stick in this. Actually, now that I mentioned that, that might actually be a bigger rights problem for them than anything else. It depends on what problems they're having with Kirkman to begin with.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know even how much they want to divorce themselves from Kirkman. Morgan's in the comic?
No.
I don't remember.
No, Morgan's not in the comic.
So Morgan is a character that was created for the show.
Yeah.
Who they're moving over to the other show.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, Morgan's not in the comic.
Daryl would have been the same thing.
Yeah.
Daryl, they could have moved over there too if they wanted to. As a matter of fact, it might have made more sense. You could get on his motorcycle instead of having what's his face walk across the country. But still,
I know.
If you're going to talk about it earlier, you could bring in Michael Rooker.
Yeah, but he's dead.
Merle.
Well, they still haven't.
Not in fear. He's not dead.
They still haven't figured out the timeline.
Yeah. So you could say, well, he's not dead in this timeline. Who was the kid who died in the first episode of the original series?
The kid?
Wasn't there a black guy in the original series?
Oh, there are a bunch of people. They've all died. I mean,
T-Dog.
Yeah, T-Dog.
There's been a long litany of people marching to the grave from this series that you've gotten to like. Like I was saying before, don't get popular because chances are you're going to die.
Yeah, like you said, the little black kid in the hospital episode, he got real popular. He got real popular real quick. He's asking questions. Oh yeah, I'm going to be right. Next thing you know, he gets caught in a
because he kept getting hired. He kept getting hired in other things. Yeah.
Well, you haven't seen the Morgan episode, and you don't watch Fear anyway. So I was going to ask you. You've seen it, though.
I saw some of it.
Okay. I'm just wondering, do you think that this will save the show?
I think AMC hopes it does.
Well, of course they do.
Yeah. And if the ratings don't get better, I think AMC will kill the show.
Well, how bad are the ratings, and how much better do they need to get?
Was it 1.6, 1.7?
I mean, it's not doing as well as the parent show, but is it outperforming comparable shows on AMC?
AMC doesn't really have any other hits.
Well, I mean, they got Into the Badlands, and they've got
Into the Badlands.
They've got Better Call Saul.
Better Call Saul. I don't know how the Terror is doing. I mean, I haven't watched it, but
I like it. I really like the Terror. It looks good. It looks good, and it's a really good ghost story too.
But AMC has a long history of having shows pop up and they cancel them right away, like Rubicon, the spy thing they were doing. One season, that was it. You know, most of the shows.
I think that was too smart for most people.
It was. It was way over people's heads. It was way over people's heads.
But what I was getting at is Fear the Walking Dead. Is it performing at least as well as other shows which they're keeping on the air? I mean, if it's performing well enough, there's no reason for them to cancel it. Then it could always get better. It does have the Walking Dead pedigree.
If it gets half the ratings of the original show, they'll probably keep it on. You've got to keep it on because you've got that gap between the dead seasons. Something's got to run in that gap.
you said they're trying to divorce themselves from Kirkman because of this lawsuit. They could try to do a character he had absolutely nothing to do with and try to bring that into like maybe a little mini series. If Fear of Walking Dead gets canceled, I'm seeing them doing a lot of little mini series on other characters.
But if you came up with a character that Kirkman had nothing to do with it, wouldn't that piss Kirkman off a little more?
I don't think they care. They don't care now.
Yeah. Well, no.
What? This is going to screw up their chance to do Invincible?
No, because I
mean, seriously.
No, but
they've got his jewel.
But he can come back and go, no. You created a character in a show based on Walking Dead, which I had nothing to do with, and I own the characters, and so therefore you're screwing me. So I'm going to sue you for this.
Well, that's getting into like Morgan. Okay, how much do you own Morgan? How much do you own Daryl? These are original characters, and yes, they may have originated within your universe, but you never had anything to do with creating them. Even though your name might have been on the show as executive producer, you didn't have any more input on creating him than anybody else did, which doesn't give you the rights to this character.
Yeah, and I'll be willing to bet that Kirkman's got some piece of paper in his office saying, how about we can create this character named Morgan? How about we create the character named Daryl? I'm willing to bet he's got notes saying he had something to do with the creation of those characters.
Maybe. Okay, the show has gone through a series of showrunners, starting with Frank Darabont.
Yeah, starting with Frank.
And working your way up to Scott Gimple now?
Scott Gimple now is...
And a couple of people in between.
Scott Gimple has been bumped up to executive consultant. Okay. So he'll have nothing to do with the day-to-day operations of either of the shows.
Obviously, the show has had good showrunners in the past because it's maintained over the years.
They just don't last very long.
Well, what's the reason for that?
Money.
They want more money?
They want more money. It's still a lot of work. Some people don't have no real interest in hanging out in Atlanta all the time making a damn show. And so they go, I'd like to do this, or wait a minute, I'm doing all this work and I'm not getting as much as other people are doing working for major networks, because AMC's budget is not an ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox budget. It's a lower budget. So you've got showrunners who are working over at those networks making a lot more money. Look at all the money Greg Berlanti's making. Why am I not making all the money Greg Berlanti's making?
Yeah, but we've already talked about this. The show's not making any money.
Yeah. Okay. That's their claim. Yeah, show's not making any money.
Sure. They're living hand to mouth.
They just had a freaking convention.
They're rolling their own damn cigarettes. Yeah.
They just had a Walking Dead convention 2 weeks ago.
Walker Stalker.
Yeah, Walker Stalker convention. And how much money do the people working on the show get out of that? Probably nothing.
Show up, shake hands, and that's it.
Well, yeah, you show up, you shake hands, they pay for your hotel, they pay for your food, you've got a handler walking around with you, and then you go back home. A lot of people, that's the only way they make a living.
So, the showrunners, you look at that to be a continuing problem with the show, or are they going to actually fix this?
They go about 3 years and they get rid of a showrunner. They go about 3 more years and they get rid of a showrunner. It's going to be a regular thing. There's nothing going to change this.
What about with Fear? Same creators?
I think it's the same people. The idea I got from people working on Fear, these are the people who couldn't work on the main show.
Substitute teacher.
Right, yeah.
Great.
Yeah, these are the subs. These are the guys who are learning how to do the work. We'll let them learn over there.
You know
when they know what they're doing, then we'll move them over here.
What is AMC going to do once Walking Dead leaves? Because nothing lasts going to...
Well, they've also got Preacher, which isn't nearly as big as Walking Dead.
No, but it's steady.
Preacher's problem is it came too late. That's what messed Preacher up.
Possibly. I think part of the problem with Preacher is the casting, too. I think they tried to be a little too unique with the casting. The girl who plays Tulip is okay, but she's not crazy squirrely like the girl who plays Tulip in the comic. She's eccentric, but she's not Harley Quinn, which is essentially...
That's good.
Well, no, not for Harley Quinn, but for Tulip. Right. No, it's not good, because Tulip needs to be a little goofier, a little crazier. And I'd be honest with you, I'm not really crazy about the guy they got playing Preacher either.
I love Dominic.
He's okay. There's nothing wrong with his acting. I just don't see him as being Preacher. I just don't see him as being that character.
Because he's British, isn't he?
Well, Andrew Lincoln's British, and half the cast is British. Last I heard, so's Morgan.
That's what another thing I'm talking about. How good acting they are with the Southern accent, and everybody on that freaking show is British. I mean, Andrew Lincoln, he's son-in-law of the lead singer of Jethro Tull.
Yeah. When you listen to him talking in his regular voice, you go, "That's the same guy." What?
Okay, how much longer do you think the show's going to be able to run? Not Fear, but the main show.
AMC wants the show to run forever.
It's not.
How much?
It's not going to. But yeah,
as we've learned anything from Walking Dead,
nothing.
all things eventually end.
Yeah, AMC would be happy to keep this thing running until...
I say if it's
the actors are in walkers.
And Kirkman's already said he has an out plan for the comic.
Yeah.
So at some point he's going to put the cap on the comic.
I'm thinking possibly 5 years. The fact that they were smart enough to show it around Halloween and then cut it off at the end of the year and then take like a month off and then pop back on. Apparently, sweeps doesn't concern AMC to begin with.
No.
So, and for them to keep doing that, I can see it going possibly 5-6 years top.
A 14-year run?
Yeah.
Or 15-year run.
Supernatural's been on for how long?
Supernatural is that anomaly.
Supernatural is less of a high
concept. It's almost 20-some years.
Yeah.
And those two over there are looking like they got grandkids by now.
And they're doing a spinoff.
They tried to spin off before.
No, this will be a female-centered spinoff.
It's not going to work.
Who would have thought that thing would go this long? How long do you think Walking Dead's got left?
I go 3 years and they should go.
Well, you think it should go. How long do you think it will last?
Oh, I think AMC will basically fight tooth and nail for that show to be on the air until hell freezes over. Until the characters are walking around literally with walkers. They're going to keep it showing as long as they can go. Even if people go, because for them, that's their big hit.
You know what? You may be right, because that's like the same thing with The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Pretty soon, you're going to run out of ideas for The Simpsons.
No, you won't.
Like, I know it's a cartoon. I know,
comedy,
and it's been
and
on
you don't have to see any of the actors.
On almost 30 years now.
Yeah, but like you said, the great thing about The Simpsons is the characters all look the same way they did 20 years ago.
Yeah,
because that's how they're drawing them.
Yeah,
that was the problem with Carl. Carl got too damn old, too damn fast. Okay, with The Simpsons, Homer never ages. I was watching a thing the other day, and one of the jokes on there from the show. You got Milhouse getting beat up by the one kid, haha. Yeah.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
Yeah, he's getting
the bully.
He's getting beat up by him, and Lisa comes up, and the bully runs away. Lisa says, "How long has he been hitting you like that?" He goes, about 22 years now. Yeah, pretty much.
About 22 years now.
And
funny.
that's a good joke. That's them making a comment about how long they've been around.
That's good.
Hey, you've been punching me like this for about 22 years.
We know the show's been on the air since forever.
Yeah, but I really don't see them once they settle this thing with.
You know what will end? When Andrew Lincoln says he wants to leave.
Actually,
that's when it'll end.
I could see AMC saying, "Well, we're going to keep this alive by focusing on Carol or something,
or
something like that," and it won't work. And it won't work.
Right.
And then the show will really become The Walking Dead.
It'll be
Dead Man Walking with nobody watching.
So basically, the fate of that show is on Andrew Lincoln.
Yeah, it's on Andrew Lincoln.
If Lincoln goes, "I don't want to do this anymore," the show should end then.
So what you watch for with The Walking Dead? When does Andrew Lincoln's contract comes up? And does he resign or doesn't he resign?
Right.
And how much money does he get if he resigns?
Right.
That's what I'd be looking for. This is an original Star Trek series thing. We can't do it without Spock. So how much is he going to hold us up for? And what's he going to want? Mm-hmm. How many episodes is he going to want to direct? How many episodes?
That's coming.
How many episodes is he going to want?
Okay,
off?
That's that Tom Welling thing,
right? When does he become? When does he become
leaving, phasing out?
When does he become one of the executive producers?
Yeah,
that's when you see. Yeah, it's like, okay, well, you want me to stick around? Okay, pay me.
Okay, and they happily will.
Oh, yeah.
But you're going to run into creative problems then, because he's going to want to cut back on his schedule. Mm-hmm. He's not going to want to do it as much. Well, the problem you have then is, well, if you're not seeing him as much, then you lose interest in watching the show, and it becomes a self-perpetuating downhill spiral.
You pray to be working on a show that lasts as long as it is, and then you sit up there and go, the end is around the corner pretty soon. And I saw the same thing with Breaking Bad.
Well, at some point, shouldn't you die of the thing you have in the first place?
That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened.
I mean, if the thing that propels you on this journey is the fact that
I'm going to die,
that you're dying, then
you kind of have to die
at some point. When
he had stage 4 terminal cancer.
Yeah. Okay.
And they gave him a short life, and they basically said, "Okay, we got a shelf life for you now. We're Walking Dead." I'm afraid the Negan thing when Walking Dead jumped the shark.
No, because Negan was part of the comic.
Negan was an integral
part of the series.
I know, but like I said, if you divorce the fact from the comic, it's like the TV show.
You can overuse him.
Right.
Part of the problem with Negan, from listening to you guys, and
a little bit goes a long way.
He's like Harley Quinn. A little bit goes a long way. He's like the Joker. Right. If you start seeing the Joker all the time, he stops being interesting.
Right.
Okay. If you only trot him out on Gotham. They've done that on Gotham. The kid who was supposed to be Joker, who's not the Joker, who just died in the series, but hey, he's got a twin brother who just went goofy. So, but if you only trot him out for a couple of episodes a season, he works great.
Jerome's great for the moments that we see him.
As soon as Jerome becomes a regular member of that show, then it goes to hell. Then it starts to really go to hell because you take him for granted, and you can only be crazy for so long before it becomes predictable.
Then he becomes Fish Mooney.
I said the same thing about Barbara. I was looking at this going, okay.
The Barbara thing, you could see that coming.
I know.
It's like, what did Roz do to her? He did something to her.
He's going to kill her.
He's going to take over.
Yeah.
But that's another show for another day. We're going to skip the Rorschach test because we went long today. I know that's going to kill both of you guys.
Man!
No Rorschach test today, but I promise you it will be back because Bo hates it.
I do not.
Bo hates the Rorschach test, so I promise you it will be back.
I do not hate it.
But that's it for now. Be sure to stop at the store's website, myalternatereality.com, where you can find all of Bo's news, all of JR's reviews, all of Vito Carli's reviews, and links to this show, as well as links to the shipping videos that I do every week, and a whole bunch of other stuff, myalternatereality.com. Be sure to stop off there if you get a chance. And, of course, until next time, this is Comic Book Man.
This is Bo.
Red Vegas.
Whatever.
What was it?
Saying he's a musical guy. Just let it go.
There are no words.
Keep walking. Bye! Thanks a lot for listening. If you enjoyed this show, please like and share it with all your friends. We value your feedback, so drop us a question, comment, show idea, or complaint either at aircomics@msn.com or, if provided, in the comments section down below on this platform. The opinions expressed in this episode are solely those of the individuals and not necessarily those of Alternate Reality Incorporated. This show is, as always, coming to you from the Alternate Reality Comic Shop, located in the heart of beautiful downtown Mount Greenwood at the intersection of 111th and Kedzie, serving Chicago comics fandom since 1994.
Elvis has left the building.